Hey there everyone, Joe DiSanto here. How you doing? Thanks for joining me in another Quicken video. Okay, in this video I'm going to tackle an area that's a little complicated. It's the bills and income and reminders and calendar kind of area and set of tools in Quicken. And I'll explain why people find it confusing in the video, but I'm going to try to make it easier to understand and show you what's important and what's not important. And I think it'll actually probably give you some tools that you'll end up using a lot. So, into the video. Okay, so bills and income, man. It's an interesting area because there's a few different things kind of overlapping when it comes to the bills and income, which make it confusing. So just let's start here. This is the bills and income tab right here. And this is what's called, FYI, the tabs kind of toolbar. And you can turn what shows up on that blue bar here, but you can't turn the blue bar off. Now, by the way, as I often say, there's multiple ways to do the same thing in Quicken, and there's multiple ways to get to different areas in Quicken, and you can get to some of the bills and income kind of set of tools from the toolbar, but this is one of the cases where you generally want to start here on this tab bar to kind of look around and see what's going on. Now, the next thing I will say is that bills can get confusing because there's a few different kinds of bills. There's what's called manual bills or online bills. And then there's also reminders, which kind of act like manual bills and in some ways are sort of the same thing, but not entirely. And then there is the extra layer of confusion that Quicken offers a bill pay service that is somewhat integrated with this. And if you wanted to pay your bills using their service, there are features to turn on that option, but people don't know that and then they get confused and so on. Now, the bill pay service is pretty much just like your bank's online bill pay. It works such that you can put in the payee information. If Quicken's system, which is on a server somewhere or whatever, can make a digital connection with them, ACH connection, it'll pay that vendor if you ask it to via ACH. If it can't make a digital connection, like say you're sending money to your friend, it will cut a check and put it in the mail to them. So it works exactly like your bank's old school bill pay. And there's no option for you to ACH your friend money. It would just have to go by check because Quicken's not going to make that ACH connection. Now, your bank nowadays, at least mine is Bank of America, they've added Zelle in, which now I can digitally send, my friends money or whatever, and I don't really use the bill pay feature much anymore because I use Zelle. Because who wants to get a check and then have to go to the ATM machine? So I don't use Quicken's bill pay service. It is included with Quicken Classic, Windows Home and Business. You get a certain amount of paper checks that can go up per month, and then they charge you, after that. But I don't use it because even before Zelle, I would actually go to my bank's website and use the bill pay there because I've always found the Quicken bill pay service a little confusing. So that's a little preface. Now, let's start with how you look at bills. So under here, bills and income, you have bills, income, and transfers. And just FYI, there is a random option in here that says combine bills, income, and transfers. Put that on. We want to make it simpler. And Over here under there, you also have this tab called projected balances. This is to help you kind of manage your forward-looking cash flow, basically. I don't find a lot of these sort of, kind of auto tools that Quicken does that helpful, so I don't really look at that. I just look at the bills and income. Now, in terms of seeing your bills and income, there is yet another way you can do it that I prefer, and I'm going to show you that as well. Over here at the home menu, okay, your basic thing that is there, actually I'm going to delete this view and I'm going to start from scratch with this. Okay, so over here at the home menu, you have just a dashboard, and the dashboard is what you see here. It's kind of widgets and so on. However, it's deeper than that. There are lots of layers to Quicken. I think because it's been around so long, they've built on top of other features, and I think they try to simplify things, but they leave the classic features too for us, old users. So, little trick here, if you go over to the dashboard, the toolbar here, there is an option. Well, first of all, you can customize this dashboard if you want, but there aren't that many options here. But if you go here and you go to Classic Dashboard, now you're going to get the option to add your own views or different kinds of dashboards. It prompts you right off the bat here to do a new view. I'm going to call this Bills and Income. And I am going to take this little widget here and I'm going to make this. So it's going to refresh here. What that does is creates this new view for me, and I'm just used to seeing my bills and income in this older school format, and I like it, so I create this view. There's a graph and a calendar here you can do. I turn those off, and if I look at all bills, I can see I have a couple of essentially what would really be considered reminders, not bills, in here. Okay, so I'm going to go back though to this screen because this is kind of the main one, and we're going to talk about the difference now between a bill, a manual bill, and an online bill. So if you go over here, you're going to get an option to add a bill, and you can add, let's say, a manual bill. A manual bill is, I'm going to use the property tax as an example. I actually have property tax in there already, but I'm going to use it again and call it property tax 2. I'm going to make a bill like I get my property tax bill in the mail. I don't have it on auto pay. I actually get the bill, have it in hand, and then I go to the address on the bill and pay it that way. Actually, what am I saying? I used to do that. My mortgage pays it, but and I pay it that way. But if it's, not due for 3 months, I like to put it in as a bill so I can see that it's going to be due, sometime soon. So I'm going to put this property tax 2 in here. Let's just say that it's due on June 1st. We'll say it's $2,000. That's not the case. I wish it were. I can say which account when I activate this bill or enter this bill where I want it to come out of. We'll say personal checking account. I can add a category. We're going to say property tax. And then I can over here choose for me to get a reminder however many days in advance, or I could even have Quicken automatically enter this bill as a transaction into that personal register a certain number of days in advance. And then over here, by the way, I should say, you can set up bills to be a single instance or something that happens every month, like a mortgage payment or something like that. So over here, I'm going to say only do this once, all right? And that kind of sets up. Now over here you see this print check with Quicken. This possibly, and that kind of sets it up. Over here you see this print check with Quicken, which means if you want to actually print a check, you used to be able to get checks that you put in your printer and Quicken would queue them up and print them out. I don't use that, but I'm going to say done now. Now, in here, I have this bill view to show only due in 30 days. But if I turn it to say due in 12 months, we're going to see that property tax bill. Now, I also have a mortgage reminder in here, which we'll do next. And those show up once a month for 12 months. Now I'm going to show you how to do a manual mortgage reminder. Let's say manual bill. See, that's the thing. Sometimes they'll call them reminders in Quicken. Sometimes they'll call them bills, but it's the same, tool function that you create these reminders with, or bills, as it were. In this case, let's say my mortgage reminder, it's a mortgage that goes out every month on the 5th. It's $1,000. It goes out to from my personal checking. Mortgage payment is the category. And in this case, I want it to automatically enter this transaction in my register in advance of it coming through the bank download, so I can see my balance in the future over here on the bar. So I'm going to do that, and now I'm going to hit done. Now that I have that reminder, you're going to see this second mortgage reminder. I should have called it mortgage reminder 2. So that's a manual bill setup or reminder. Like, I feel like the reminder might be something that happens every month, and you could have it throw up an alert, and you hit this enter button, which will put it into the register yourself, or you can set it up to enter into the register automatically. Let's actually hit this enter into the register. It's basically going to take everything I put in here, and it's going to give me an option to enter this transaction. This reminder is going to go away, and if I go over here, we're going to see that transaction in the register in the future. You also see over here, there's a little alert. This alert is related to the other reminders I have set up that will enter the transaction in this account's register. Okay, so that's a manual bill and reminder. Now, what's an online bill? Online bills are pretty handy too. An online bill is a bill you can put into Quicken that connects to that vendor or service provider's online account, and Quicken will download the accurate bill amount from that service provider when the bill becomes due. So now, this kind of thing would be your utility bill. Like, I'm going to put in Frontier Communications here as an example. And these bills essentially will give you the accurate amount that's going to be charged. Like a utility, it's changing every month, right? So you can't put your utility bill in advance unless at some point you go to their website after the bill's been issued, you find the amount, and you preemptively enter that transaction in with the right amount. This online bill does all that for you so that you know that that bill amount is going to be withdrawn from your checking account in advance. Now, in my case, I don't actually use this because my checking account has enough money in it where when my Frontier bill comes through, I know there's going to be enough money in there. I have a buffer in there of, say, $10,000. So I'm not worried if my utility comes through and it's $325. I know it'll be covered, and I just, log it as an expense when it comes through my bank download. But if you want to be more preemptive, you can use this service. Now, what I do use this service for, though, is my credit card bills. I have them set up as an online bill, mainly because that is something where the bill is going to be a lot of money, and I want to put that bill into the register preemptively, like, a week in advance, and make sure I have enough money in there to cover the credit card bill. So I don't want to have to go to the website every time and get the amount. By putting this online billing here, what'll happen is when the next bill comes through, Quicken will show right here what the bill amount is, the due date, what the minimum is, what the total amount is, and then you can enter it from here just like we entered that other one, and you can choose minimum payment or, whatever you want. When you do that, it enters in the register, and, you can do that whenever you want. It can give you an alert to do it 10 days in advance. It might even allow you to put it in automatically, but you might want to change what that amount is. So that's the online bill. I guess I'll go through using the Frontier example, and maybe that will illustrate. So stand by, I'll be back. Okay, so I put in the info, and I got this, and it noticed here I got this box. I wanted to show that. This is Quicken asking you if you want Quicken to initiate a payment to the biller. Of course, that's confusing. I don't want that because I go on the biller's website, I have my bank account information, and I take care of it there, and then it gets paid automatically. I always recommend don't use Quicken automatic bill pay service to pay things. Just go on the place's website and put your account info there. That way, if you ever have a problem and the bill doesn't get paid, you can blame it on them. Otherwise, if there's a problem and Quicken doesn't get the bill pay out to them, then they'll blame it on you. So I'm just going to close that. So now you see this entry. Sadly, in my case here, it says failed. It wasn't able to fetch the info. It's probably because I'm in France right now and I'm using an internet connection from France, and I think that's causing this issue. But anyway, generally it works, and here you'll get the current bill amount, and then you'll have an opportunity to enter that bill. Now again, in my case, the bill gets paid by my bank account automatically, but if I want to have the bill amount in advance and enter that into my register, and I don't want to go get the bill from the online service provider or the provider's website, this goes and gathers that information for me and allows me to enter it. And then my bank will pay it automatically. And then that download will come through, and then it'll match up with the payment. So that is an example of an online bill. The other thing, by the way, if you have online, the other thing, by the way, for like your credit cards that you have connected as it is, those can be added to this process through that connection. Actually, I will illustrate that. So now that I've deleted those, it says, hey, Quicken has detected bills from your connected account. Do you want to add them? You could do yes here. I'm just going to go through the manual process. We'll go online bill. We'll say Citi, because that's the credit card that's connected. It should probably pick it up pretty easily. There you go. Hey, you have 2 Citi cards on that account. Right now, there's no bill due. But when there is, that information will come through. And now I have those online bills added. So what I do is I tend to deal with my online bills in this window, and then I'll go kind of look at my manual bills in this window. And you can actually turn them, you can filter what it's showing. If I just want to look at online bills here, I can do that. And then over here in this view, I can look at all my manual bills. For me, that's just what works. for some reason, I'm so used to this old view for my regular bills. I don't like it, so that's how I work. But it really is pretty handy and saves you time from having to go up to the websites. Now, over here, by the way, you're going to see an option here to either enter this bill, like when it comes through, there'll be info here, and you can enter the bill with this button, which will just enter it into the register. If you use Pay with Bill Manager, now Quicken's going to think you want to use Quicken's bill pay service to pay it, and it's going to prompt you to go through a whole setup and everything like that. So just FYI on that difference. The other thing I wanted to quickly point out over here, that is another view I will set up that kind of interacts with the whole bill thing, is if we go to add view here, I'm going to call this calendar view, and I'm going to put the calendar in here, and now I can see my bills and different things in calendar view. Of course, there's tons of options of what you can see in here. I'm going to limit it a little bit more. You can just have bills and income reminders show up in your calendar, and then you can kind of look at it that way, which I think some people prefer to do. By the way, I'm going to stop real quick here and just say, if you are just getting into Quicken and you want content that is a little bit more boiled down and also has some advanced stuff, I do have a course on Quicken. It's called Quicken Mastery, link below. But also, I assume you're getting into Quicken because you want to master your finances. You want to really be in charge of your personal finances. I have a bigger, broader course on that called Personal Finance Mastery, which includes Quicken, but also all sorts of other information about how to get your financial act together. Both of those courses include my Quicken templates, which are a great place to get started with Quicken because it has all my categories and everything built right in. So anyway, wanted to let you know that. Back to the video. Okay, so now that we kind of talked about bills and bill reminders, I want to just quickly touch on what are income and transfer reminders. They are obviously the same thing, but kind of in reverse for income. So we could add an income reminder here, and like, you know, if you have rental properties, rent due, you could make as an income reminder. And you could say the rent is due on the 5th of the month. It's $1,500. It's going to go what we call, I think I have a real estate checking in here. Yeah, real estate checking. And it's rental income, property 1, we'll say. And then I can have this reminder go in automatically 10 days in advance, right? So what happens in this case is that reminder will pop up in my real estate checking account, will pop up here. It'll say it's coming due soon, and then it'll automatically enter in here. Now, for me, that's how I like to do the rental real estate. It's like I see that the rent should be coming in 10 days from now, and I do my bank downloads, and if it doesn't come in, then I know I got to make a call and find out what's going on, right? So that is an example of a reminder. Now, over here, I go to my bills and income reminders, and now I have that in here. And if I wanted to enter it manually, just because I want to get it in there, I can double click it. I can enter it, and then it's going to be over here in the account. And you notice that little alert button went away, and there you go. There's that. Okay, so I'm going back to my view. Now, what's a transfer reminder? I'm going to keep doing them all from the same place here. But you can enter from either view. You can go here, and you can go add reminder, blah, blah, blah. You can have reminders for income transfers, invoices, online bills, or manual bills. Let's do a transfer reminder, and we're gonna go, I don't know, every month savings transfer. We say we put $1,000 from our checking account every month on a certain date. We'll say that happens on March 15th. It happens every month. It's $700. It goes from my biz checking, from the biz checking to the personal checking. And it doesn't have a category because it's transfer. The category is the target account. We can have that either get a reminder, or we can just have it automatically enter however many days in advance. Because of Quicken's bill pay service, if you connect its bill pay service with your bank, you could actually initiate a transfer from Quicken. But I don't do that. It's like just more things that can go wrong. So I do have some automatic transfers set up for myself. And at the bank, I set it up to happen every month automatically on their website. But I have this reminder and auto enter system, or auto entering reminder in Quicken. I mean, that's the problem with the terminology. It's like a reminder would indicate it just gives you an alert. But no, a reminder can auto enter every month for you. And you can do that with your paycheck, with your mortgage, with whatever. So reminder is a limited term, I think, that throws people off. And then, of course, bill, a bill is a reminder too if it's not a manual bill. So yeah, so that was a long video. That is bills, income, and reminders. And I will see you in the next video.